Ben, what impressed you in the last couple minutes of that Butler game with how clutch your guys were? Obviously, the steal that Parker had and the free throws come to mind. What, from a coaching perspective, stood out about that element?
Yeah, I loved, this is the reason why you do a tournament like this is because you can't simulate those end the game pressure situations. You can dial it
Yeah.
up in practice, you can try to, but you can't with the crowd that they had, with the personnel that they had on the floor. And again, that's why this stuff is so valuable because we talk about handling late game situations better, like every week we've gone by. And I thought our timeouts, what guys were talking about, even to the point of like when we knew we were trying to press or get a foul, the communication that the guys had about, hey, when are we fouling? Who are we fouling? All right, hey, if you guys go for the double, Parker talking about, I'm gonna lay in the weeds, see if we can't bait for a steal. And then they knew they're just gonna find a way to win. And we talked about that all year. It's just good teams just find ways to win. And we found a way to win and getting to the free throw line and Elijah making the free throws. Again, we've worked on pressure free throws all year, and now you get to put it in play. It's just invaluable for this team to go through those experiences, come out successful, but just get reps at all that different stuff and just making basketball plays. I think that's the next step for this team is, at the end of the day, you just got to make a basketball play.
Ben, how big was it to see your team play defense the way they did down the stretch, second half? And how important will that be going against an Indiana State team that can put up a lot of points?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, we kind of took them out of their stuff, and they ended up just running a couple actions because of our ball screen coverage, which was good. I thought, our defense kept it in it, and especially on a quick prep, a quick turnaround. Again, all that stuff is reps for our guys, and I thought they responded really well. There were, spots in the game where they could have given in when they kind of extended the lead, and our defense kept us in it, and we just kept making plays. And I just thought we had that bend but don't break mentality, which was good. Obviously Indiana State's a whole different animal. We're probably gonna have to play one of our better defensive games of the year against those guys. But just for our guys to go on the road, play against a well-coached team, a team that has got some talent and runs good stuff, and for us to become successful and walk out there with a win in postseason play was a big step.
Ben, with Parker, he had to go in the game right away when Farrell got banged up, and then obviously Farrell went back in. And how have you been able to manage that rotation when, I mean, you said it before, like Parker could easily start for you, and obviously he's finishing games, making defensive plays. How does that rotation work in the front court for you?
I think it's played out pretty good. I think, playing him extended minutes on days that he feels really good, and he's got it going. I've said all year, we play guys that kind of are in that rhythm and have that hot hand, and he just had it that game. I mean, he had that look. He didn't want it to end. He was making plays on both sides of the ball. He was playing with emotion, and so I stayed with him. And our guys know it's never personal. It's just whoever is in the rhythm of the game on defense and on offense. And I just thought he just was in a really good rhythm, and he was just playing the right way and playing to win. And so when you're able to have a guy that can come in there and kind of show that older classman maturity, it's huge because he knows, some games it's not going to be him, and maybe those extended minutes aren't going to be there, but he's always ready. He's a smart player, and because of that, he's able to jump in and play whatever role is needed on any given night.
Ben, before the Butler game, you talked about managing time with the way the transfer portal is right now. How much time are you guys, paying attention to that and focused on that as well as continue on in the NIT?
Yeah, every minute that we're not focused on Indiana State, we're focused on the portal. We spent all morning kind of combining it both, just like we did yesterday. And now we state tournaments going on here, so you're trying to do that. You're trying to see who's in the portal, the whole thing. So it's been good because my staff has been on it with everything, and it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. And so we'll put the necessary time needed to do both. Obviously now the rest of the day we turn our focus to Indiana State and having a really good prep and a really good practice. But yeah, I mean, you can't ignore either.
Coach,
Ben,
what do you
picking
see from
up from
Indiana
that.
State?
Go ahead, Mike.
Coach, what do you see from Indiana State? You mentioned that you're now kind of in the throes of getting ready for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of followed them all year. One of my good friends and ex coworkers, Matt Graves, is on their staff. So I've kind of followed them all year because of Matt. So I've known the type of team that they are, not only this year, but ever since he's been there. And have a ton of respect for Coach Schertz and how they play and their personnel. They took a huge step this year as a program, and he's got a crazy combination of talent and skill that you just don't see. They play a short rotation. They're really only playing about 6 guys, but all 6 guys can dribble, pass, and shoot. And when I say shoot, I mean, I'm talking like multiple guys, 4 or 5 at 40% and above from 3. They all can make reads. They all can cut you up with cutting, with stuff at the rim. It's by far going to be one of our toughest challenges because of the personnel and their system that's really unique. But one of the most efficient offensive teams in the country. Obviously playing away from home. I'm assuming they're going to have a pretty good crowd, and so it's going to be a major test for our guys.
What do you remember of that arena from your days at Northern Iowa?
Yeah, I remember a lot. I mean, they've done some upgrades, which has been really good to the arena. They've always had a supportive fan base, and so I know it's going to be like that on Sunday. I just think it's a good test. Our guys obviously respect them because they've heard the Indiana State talk all year. They saw the Michigan State game early in the year when they played them really tight and actually played really well. If that game's not at Michigan State, they probably have a really good chance of winning that game. And so the respect is there. I think our guys are going to look forward to the environment and a team that's really looking to play well.
Ben, piggybacking off of Andy's question earlier, just what are your thoughts in general about the portal already being open? It seems like it might create something of an unfair advantage for teams that are not in postseason play, like you guys and teams in the NCAA tournament. Just what are your general thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the hardest part about it is the longer you play, the longer you don't know what your roster is going to look like. So you're in the portal, but you're kind of in the portal guessing to a certain extent, unless you have open scholarships already. So I think that's just the hardest part for not only us, but, I talk to all these coaches that are in a form of postseason play, and that's kind of what we're all juggling is it's active and guys are going in and you have to monitor it. You have to look at certain positions and certain guys, but you have no idea really what you need to attack because your roster's still intact because you're still playing. So it's there's no book that tells you how to do that. You're out there trying to do the best you can, and at the same time, you're still trying to win games and continue your season. So it's kind of that double-edged sword. The longer you play, the greater it is for your program and what you're trying to do. And at the same time, the longer you play, you do kind of feel like you're up against it a little bit just because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. And obviously guys are going to make decisions sooner than later in some instances in the portal. And you just got to kind of deal with it as it comes.
One more for Coach.
Robbie Avila has a pretty unique game. How would you look at that? And he's got some kind of wild nicknames. You have a favorite nickname that you've heard from him?
He does. He's got a bunch of wild nicknames. No, I actually remember him in AAU, so I'm familiar. He's a guy that just has such a unique skill set, and his ability to pass and anticipate when a guy's going to be open. He gets you with the shot fake. He gets you with just his pace. You can't speed him up. He's a savvy defender. I mean, you look at him and you think, oh man, this is a guy that isn't going to be able to move his feet or contain in ball screens or contain in the post. And sometimes he doesn't, but other times he just finds a way to be effective. And he's got great hands defensively with steals and just being a pest. He anticipates and he can shoot. And so I think that's why, you know, he's so potent is when you get him on the perimeter, he can facilitate offense really like a guard because he can dribble and he can make every pass and every read, but he also can shoot it. And so you put your ball screen coverage in a bind, and he's just a unique cover. Again, really, really, really good player, a big piece of what they do offensively. And I know just talking to coaches that have played him, you know, you have to have a certain game plan for what he's doing, and you probably got to have a game plan for the game plan in case that doesn't go well. You know, again, this is a team that just watching them on film as much as I have is one of the more impressive teams offensively that I've seen in a long time. You know, with their ability to just, again, combine athleticism with skill and with guys that can think on the fly and make reads. I mean, it's definitely a pick your poison type of game. You can't take everything away. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable and knowing that you're going to give up something, and you just got to hope that sometimes they miss, to be honest with you. And you got to play percentages sometimes, and you got to stick to your guns sometimes when it's not going well. But they're an NCAA tournament team, and I think it's going to be a fun challenge for our guys on the road, no question.